Let's cut right to the chase. You think politics is clean? You think modern democracies have flawless, airtight systems? Wake up. It's a complete illusion. Today, we're ripping off the mask. We're going to show you that corruption didn't just magically disappear. It evolved. It put on a tailored suit, tied a silk tie, and walked right onto your television screen. Ready to have your entire understanding of politics shattered? Let's get into it.
So many people are still stuck in the last century. When you picture political corruption, what do you see? Shady meetings in dark alleys, briefcases stuffed with unmarked, non-sequential bills? You are totally wrong. That old-school method is way too risky. It's a guaranteed ticket to prison. Today, the real money, the billions of dollars in favors, changes hands in broad daylight, right under a blinding spotlight. And the craziest part? It is entirely legal. The contrast is absolutely staggering. On one side, you have direct lobbying, the old-fashioned bribe. It's illegal, it's incredibly risky, and it ruins lives. On the other side, you have the absolute, untouchable brilliance of indirect lobbying. You don't hand the politician a single dime. Instead, you just frantically buy products from a company the politician happens to own. Like, say, buying absurdly expensive commercial time on their television network. The money washes perfectly clean right into their pocket, and you're completely innocent. It's a masterclass in dodging the law. Section 1. Uncovering legal bribery. Let's use Italy as our perfect case study to see exactly how this invisible loophole actually works. The timeline lays it out perfectly. 1994, 2001, 2008. Silvio Berlusconi is elected Prime Minister of Italy for 3 separate terms. But here is the ultimate kicker. While holding the absolute highest office in the land, he maintained total, uncontested control over Italy's biggest private television network, Mediaset. The guy writing the nation's rules was the exact same guy dominating its media market. It's an unprecedented, mind-blowing conflict of interest. Section 2. Shocking profit transfers. So how does this money-printing machine actually operate? The loop is beautifully simple and completely fatal to democracy. Step 1. The politician takes power. Step 2, corporations heavily regulated by the government start buying up massive amounts of ad space on his TV network. Step 3, the politician's personal media revenue absolutely explodes. Step 4, those same corporations suddenly get major regulatory favors. Just like that, TV commercials become a perfectly legal currency for buying government policy. The data never lies. The shift in ad spending is violent. When the politician is out of power, ad revenue on his network is completely normal, nothing special. But the very second he takes back the prime minister's seat, spending violently spikes. This isn't because the TV show suddenly got better, no way. This is massive corporate capital bowing down to political power. Section 3. Who is frantically paying? We need to know who is funding this massive surge. Economists dug deep into the numbers and cracked the code. The entire market is split straight down the middle. On one side, you have the highly regulated sectors, telecom, pharmaceuticals, finance. Their entire survival, their profit margins, depend entirely on government rules. On the other side, you have low-regulation sectors, apparel, toys, basic food. They live and die by the free market. They don't need to beg politicians for backroom policy favors. Get ready for a major reality check. The second the politician takes office, heavily regulated firms act like starving wolves. They violently shift their budgets, throwing cash at the prime minister's network. And what about the unregulated everyday companies? Because the regulated giants are driving ad prices through the roof, the normal companies literally flee the network. They can't afford it anymore. They aren't buying ads for views. They are buying ads based on who owns the station. It is a brutal reality. And don't for a second think they're just buying cheap late-night junk slots to check a box. Absolutely not. The data proves these regulated giants deliberately hunt down the most insanely expensive peak hour seconds they can find. Why? Because the ad itself is just a vehicle. Their true goal is to maximize the sheer volume of cash they are transferring. The more they overpay, the bigger the financial transfer, and the happier the politician gets. Section 4. The logic of billions. Let's look at the staggering scale of this legal bribery loop. 1 billion euros. Researchers used strict economic models to calculate exactly how much this invisible loophole paid out. And it is staggering. 1 billion extra euros flowed straight into the prime minister's personal media empire. A billion. That is the ultimate terrifying efficiency of converting political power into cold, hard cash. But come on, corporations aren't running charities, right? They happily handed over €1 billion. So what's on the other side of that equation? They expected a massive return on investment. We're talking €2 billion worth of policy favors and regulatory protection. For these highly regulated monopolies, that is a phenomenal, guaranteed return. And guess what? The taxpayer ends up footing the bill for the whole shebang.
So who actually bleeds in this scenario? The comparison is brutally clear. The politicians' private network saw profits explode by 25%. Meanwhile, the National Public Network, RAI, got completely cannibalized. Their profits tanked by 9%. This indirect lobbying scheme literally destroyed public revenue. The country bleeds while the man in charge gets richer. Section 5. Breakthroughs and fatal flaws. Let's look at the genius and the blind spots of this analysis. The researchers were absolute geniuses for using market-clearing prices. By tracking weird spikes in ad costs, they could actually quantify the hidden return on lobbying. Brilliant! But they also made some wildly naive assumptions. They built their model assuming TV ad supply is perfectly fixed. Even worse, they were so zoomed in on corporate ad budgets, they completely ignored the much darker reality. A politician using an unstoppable media empire to manipulate and brainwash everyday voters over the long term. And the firm-level data exposes another harsh truth. This isn't a game for everyone. The entire massive shift in spending, it's driven entirely by megacorporations. Small and medium businesses are completely locked out. They couldn't buy political favors even if they wanted to. This market for government loyalty is totally monopolized by corporate titans. Section 6. The ultimate cost of power. Let's tie this all together into a warning we can't ignore. This quote hits the nail completely on the head. When a leader outright refuses to divest from their corporate empire, traditional anti-corruption laws are totally, entirely useless. You don't need suitcases of dark money anymore. A totally normal corporate purchase, a standard advertising invoice, is all it takes to complete the transaction. It's wrapped up in the disguise of a free market, making it nearly impossible to regulate or punish. So, I'm leaving you with a question. The next time you're sitting on your couch, watching a commercial break, don't just look at what product they're selling. Ask yourself, who is actually funding this ad? Are they really trying to buy your attention? Or are they just buying a regulatory favor from the person in power? Once you truly grasp this, you will never look at television or politics the same way again. That wraps up this deep dive. Stay curious, and we'll see you next time.